dang!
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Hot Dang India podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about very fun stuff. As always, my name is Thakkar.
Hi, I'm Shreemi Verma, and we have with us Priyam Saha, who's an actor, an anchor, a comic, a creative person in general.
And Shreemi Verma's best friend.
Yes, most important.
That's up for debate.
Yeah.
But we really hope you enjoyed this episode. We're going to be talking about the benefits of having a little bit of a hoe phase. Getting out there, casual dating. It's a fun topic, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we hope you guys enjoy the episode. Welcome, Priyam. How's it going? Yaar, kya chal raha hai life mein?
All good. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Priyam ka interview chal raha hai yahan pe. That's what is happening.
Like most generic HR interview answer ever. No,
Yeah, because you asked me how it's going. What am I supposed to do?
How's it going? It's such an open-ended question. People ask me how's it going. I'm like, it's going, but I wish I had more money. I wish my life was.
See, you're an overshare.
हाँ,
That's your problem.
तभी तो तेरे को पूछता नहीं है.
I'm sorry, this is the podcast. Please overshare.
Okay, oversharing. How is it going? It's going good, yeah. Could make more money. Could get more sleep.
Nice.
Yes.
Story of everyone's life.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
very good.
Yes,
But,
and how's the love life going?
Interesting question.
Why has everyone turned to me? I have zero
Okay,
It's like
knowledge.
12
so just put in context,
Yes.
right? So we are talking about love lives and dating and how it is super complicated.
Yes.
Especially because the generation we come from, we are 30 years old. Shreemi is obviously much older.
50.
Yeah. So we've also seen like the dating scenario change.
Yeah.
Pre-dating app, post-dating app. And also when we talk about casual hookups or casual relationships, I think it has like a super bad reputation. Yeah. Which I don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah.
Because I think the general opinion is when you think about like casual sex or dating or any of that, there's a lot of, that, it must be super disrespectful, super wham ma'am, thank you ma'am, super like
Transactional.
super transactional,
Yeah.
which I don't necessarily think is the case, or at least in my experience it has not been. So yeah.
And I think before this episode, we were discussing this, and Priyam had said that a lot of people don't see it, but it is kind of a rite of passage. What is it? Whatever.
Right of passage.
Yes.
You're right.
That, always. Actually, I'm left, but no. Casual dating is an important factor in anybody's dating life, love life, and especially us as a country and when it comes to women who are not really encouraged to go out that much.
Yeah.
Again, we have a very obviously limited point of view because we live in Bombay. We've been living in big cities most of our lives. But in general, like once a woman is 21 or something, it is seen that shadi kar lo, and not enough experience is, taken from what kind of man you want to be with. It's a trial and error, right? And that is how it should be encouraged. It's not the worst thing in the world. And your daughter will not become like a horrible person if she starts like dating more than one man.
I think before we continue, we must issue a disclaimer that these are all personal points of view.
Oh, for sure.
Basis are fairly limited exposure of life and the world. So, Jackie,
that is the mantra of the entire podcast, by the way. It is just literally our point of view.
It's just
we are not
us talking
on
about
anything.
things we like to talk about.
I really don't think anyone is going to take that seriously, that this is the norm. But
Jackie, if tomorrow if I get famous and people misquote me from this podcast,
you're just making sure about covering your bases.
Covering my bases.
Speaking of covering bases.
Good one.
Good one, sir.
When you spoke about like women when they turn 21. I feel like women in general, when you're about 15, like between 13 to 16, those hormonal years.
Yeah.
That's when, at least
And you
for
attain
me,
puberty.
when like that whole idea of girls and boys actually sitting on the same bench, there's a different kind of spin on it. Like, there's something wrong.
Summer vacation के बाद पूजा अलग लगने लगी.
I don't know what, but
please subscribe to better newsletters.
खुल गई है हमारी नेट.
My God, yeah, but like school से यार कि like तभी propose मारते थे, right? So I think and I can talk from a male perspective. I think what happens is if you have a crush and you tell your other guy friends or something, back then at least it was very like, okay, if you have a crush उसको जाके pro मारना है, like propose मारना है.
Pro
मारना है, yeah, you'll get cool that
Pro
way.
Max.
This was obviously before social media. Before this is
the 90s.
MSN Messenger.
90s, early 2000s.
Max, you could like add your crush on MSN Messenger.
Which was like peak like communication.
Exactly.
Like वो 4 बजे तुम messenger पे मिलोगे was your date.
SMSs, there were SMSs if you got their number. That is.
Yeah.
And if you had your own phone,
that
is.
also. Or we've really dealt with a lot in life. Deprived.
And in school, they were like, you were a stud or you were a babe or something. If you had either a boyfriend, which was basically at that point, like girlfriend, boyfriend, just to share tiffin or something in the recess,
hold
or like
hands.
go down in the canteen, hold hands and stuff like that. So it started that way. And again, my experience has always with this been that men generally, it was like, oh, I've dated now it's a rite of passage, now I need to like get ahead. We were always encouraged. I don't know if it was locker room talk or what, but it was very like, okay, now but you're dating, but have you held hands? Have you kissed? Always
what step? What base? What base?
What base?
Yes.
Yeah, basically. But for girls, I've always wondered how does that first initiation start? Because obviously, when you gain agency, there's a lot of awkwardness. There's a lot of like either your family is a little orthodox, or maybe the circles you've grown up with, they're sort of this thing. So what was that like for you guys? Like your initial brush with romance or dating?
But just to start with, like you said that when you're that age group and the boys who are dating are studs and the girls who are dating are not babes. They're sluts.
They're sluts.
So that's a whole different thing where there's already so much kind of shame
Stigma
attached to wanting to date or wanting to explore your bodies or any of that, whatever it might be for you. So I think there's a lot of, when you're a girl in this country trying to date or trying to interact with the opposite sex, there is definitely one layer of unlearning of how much is okay for you personally and how much it is that somebody else has told you, acha mummy se chupke karna hai, acha your friends are not approving lots of times of stuff you're doing. I don't think it's as encouraged as the boys are ki tu stud hai aur ab kya kara aur meri
your name will get spoiled.
Yeah, exactly.
My kaka used to tell this to my cousin sister. Her name will get spoiled.
My name was full spoiled in my school.
हाँ, और मेरा मतलब मैं बचपन में सब चुतियागिरी किया है. Okay, like I have principal के office में पकड़ा गया हूँ, like just doing graffiti and all of that. And nobody ever said his name is getting spoiled. It was ever like, yeah, he's naughty. He has a wild streak. ये वो ऐसे cool terms है. So obviously like that was what I was getting at. Like getting that agency first. It does have those marrings of like this is something bad.
Yeah. I was not encouraged to date at all. I have a protective mother and father and brother. So that comes with the baggage. But no, for sure, like she said, if you had a boyfriend at one time, then you were dating another boyfriend, you were called a slut, like immediately. Not even dating, even if you're like talking too much to, and we again come
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but not only by other boys, but by other
First,
chicks.
I'm sorry, but girls were the first one to like immediately call somebody a slut.
ये तो बहुत corrupted लड़की है, इससे दूर रहूंगी.
So, yeah, man, for sure. Like, even when you had a crush on a guy or something, you would not act upon it and kind of wait for him to probably ask you out. Because again, if you would make a move or you would tell somebody you like them, either you were a loser who can't get a guy like to ask her out
first,
because you're lame, or you are like, you're easy. So, and nobody like really wants to be easy because it has such a negative connotation around it. So I had my first boyfriend or whatever like in 9th grade, which was later than a lot of girls did in my school at least, because I was terrified. Jamnabai was a wild school, wild time. But yeah, I was very scared that, my mom will find out or my father will find out, which is hilarious because I should have known that they are far more chill. Because that is how they were when I actually started dating. They were very okay, they were very encouraging. Father didn't want to know so much, but my mother was a sweetheart when it came to my relationships. But I won't count my school thing as a relationship.
Terrible, you must do.
And now how does...
all the people I date, I count all of you.
Priyam, do you want to add to what you
No, I think similarly, I think in India, honestly, like dating by the 9th, 10th grade, I went to a convent. Dating by the 9th, 10th grade.
Which explains so much.
I'm just like suddenly Priyam as a whole is making sense to me. Ye convent mein gayi. Yes.
I was convent educated, good homely girl. Thank you very much. So
debatable, but yes.
So 9th or 10th mein he, like is when you start kind of. In fact, dude, for the longest time, I actually I think do this joke on stage also. That for the longest time, my understanding of the opposite sex was either somebody I was dating or somebody my friend was dating. I had not met boys.
Guys as friends as a concept is just alien.
My friend after our 12 got over, usko jana tha law padhne gayi Dehradun ya jo, and in a co-ed institution, and she was just like, Priyam, ladka aur ladki ek padhai kar rahe, like it's mind blowing to us. Like, what do you mean?
Alone in a room together, not naked.
So I think so when I started dating fairly early. because again of curiosity, and I knew that outside of the slut shaming also, you know, then you become kind of that person in the group with the experience or
You become
whatever.
the Samantha of the group. By that time.
Yeah, right. But like you said earlier about the rite of passage, now that I'm 30 and mature and beautiful even more, I think the rite of passage is, I think the rite of passage bit is important, because I think all the people that I have met, like in dating capacities and all, have definitely been, you know, they've added to my personality, they've added to my worldview. And because, like earlier we were talking about, you know, how with societal conditioning, you are always kind of programmed कि अब चलो बड़े हो और किसी को पकड़ो और उससे शादी करो और बच्चा कर लो. But how do you get to that stage? You have to, you know, kind of meet some people. And I think now, especially as we are growing older and, you know, the younger generations even more, relationships are getting that much more complicated or that much more harder to lock, because women also have a say. You know, they are also kind of कि अच्छा ये मुझे भी चाहिए, सिर्फ आपका नहीं चलेगा. So to have that agency, I think it's important that you've interacted with enough people. So because I think that's contributed hugely in how I view myself, my relationship with love, with sex, with my body, all of that. And it doesn't have to be such a it's terrible. And don't be in situations that where you're treated badly.
Absolutely.
I think when people are thinking of casual relationships, they are thinking कि हाँ मतलब there's a power dynamic is very skewed. किसी एक का बहुत ही disadvantage वाला वो है. There is no love, there is no intimacy at all. You're just like a booty call. But I don't think any of that is true. Or it shouldn't be.
This list of, you know, the more people you know and date, even if it doesn't work out for you, at least you know what you don't want, right? Which is equally important as knowing what you want. So now with all the people we've gone on dates with, we've been in relationships, by my age, I know that I don't want all of this, which really helps also in figuring out who you want eventually. And even for that, I think you should thoda niklo bahar.
What has been your, like,
yes, as a man,
like,
I just
tell
want to add
us
to
the
what
discomfort
you
you've been through.
was saying. No. Basically, yes, like it adds to your whole holistic personality. I get that. And I've always been very vocal about how I think people should actually go out, date, have a whole phase, so to speak, and like have your role, like the years where you sow your wild oats, so to speak, because then I feel like you won't have that FOMO after marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is probably my understanding of that happened later. But yeah, for a long time I did have this whole, and look, when you grow up around guys and this and that, there is this culture of slut shaming a little bit. Oh, ye to deti hai. Thanks. You know, like there is that reputation building. And then eventually, I don't think till I had my first girlfriend, serious girlfriend, who I actually cared for and felt for. And then she told me about a very nasty nickname that she got in school.
Right.
Because of some guy she dated. He spread some rumors. That it took me that to unlearn ki, okay, like this leaves serious psychological impact on anyone you're dating. So since then, why I've always propagated casual dating is because a lot of women, for their idea of dating is meet someone, either he's the one or I'm not even going to hold his hand or like, you know, let it go to even somewhere in the middle space. And then there's shame attached to getting broken up with, right? Which shouldn't be the case. You should look at it as exactly what you said, which is like it adds to your personality. I have always looked at all my relationships as something that has helped me grow. Like from the time I was 15, from my first girlfriend, who made me start having non-veg. She was Parsi. So,
good job.
Non-veg
मैं मस्त गुज्जू लड़का, मैं ऐसे मतलब chicken lollipop का एक bite ले लिया mistake से, and then I was like, अच्छा है, but नहीं खाना चाहिए. But she was Parsi, and she just spoilt me, like chicken and like dhansak dal, pathrani machi and all of that.
Dating can really help opening up your palate.
I was very fortunate, and we had this nice cute school girl romance from the age of 15 to 18. So my initiation into serious relationships was nice. But then after that, I think I started to just become a horny teen. And like I could go out and like, you know, whatever, have casual relationships. But I did find that a lot of times women, and at that time they were girls, for them it obviously like 19, 20, kachi kali, whatever. मैं भी कच्चा मतलब मैं भी कच्चा कैरी था. But there was always like I wasn't shamed or anything for these things.
You were called a stud.
Yeah, and later on, I think now when you grow out of that, we're all in media circles, all in woke circles. Now it's very like when I meet a girl, if she's not had a bit of a hoe phase, especially now when I'm looking to settle down and all of that, it would be a little alarming to me. It's like, like why haven't you gone out there and explored enough?
But I think that's also not everybody's personality.
This is a very privileged thing. I'm agreeing.
I'm saying outside of privilege also you could have the access, but
there are lots of privileged guys who don't have this thought process at all.
Like sexual curiosity or even the need to meet people or to need to hear different points of view, I don't think is common.
No, for sure. For me, after I think I've always been in relationships for the longest time from when I started dating. It was not like, it was never about we'll go on a few dates and not talk to each other. It was like, you're my boyfriend then. So that would be the thing. And then even, as I turned 21, I was in a long-term relationship till my late 20s. I was with one guy. And I was under the impression that, okay, now I have found this guy and eventually I will be with him. But that's how it is, right? And I've seen my parents also do the same thing. They were for each other's first, like, proper boyfriend, girlfriend, got married, ran away, got married, very romantic and everything. So that was my impression that this is how things are. And then I remember, I think during 2014-15 when Tinder and everything had come to India and people were like Tindering and shit like that. And it was such a vague concept to me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how are you,
shopping for people online?
Yeah, that's just, it's so weird. Like, I found it very weird as a concept. And I was under the impression that मुझे तो ये सब की कभी ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ने वाली. And then the one bubble broke. And
now Bumble has broken. I've seen your Bumble. I have swiped left and right on your behalf.
I'm sorry. Yes, if any of you all have thought that
I actually operate Shreemi Verma's
it's
Bumble.
Actually Jackie.
I'm sorry to the quick deviation. I think the funniest thing is, like talking to Shreemi online and then meeting her in person. I don't think be it her Twitter, her dating account.
I remember this, I think once, so Priyam and I used to work at for a very long time and it was literally like a frat house for us. We used to just chill, talk, bitch about boys and everything.
If you're saying all this, maybe don't mention the publication.
Oh yeah, sorry, I did that. But beep dal dena. But I know that when I was like freshly single and stuff and I was trying to figure this out and I was going out and all. And I was just telling Priyam, okay bro, you know me inside out now. Like we are closest friends, you know everything about me. I reply to so many boring things with ha ha ha. Okay. Like just like 5 lines of ha 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 because just to like, I don't want to participate in this and he's trying to be funny because whatever. So I was just saying, and she's like, just imagine you're saying this online to people thinking that you are this chirpy girl who laughs at everything they're saying, and when you meet them in real life, they will be like, what the fuck is this bitch? She's just
straight face.
वो बेचारा punchline बोल रहा है, you're just like,
I can do better.
पाव भाजी मंगा लेके
literally.
Yeah, so I'm still quite fake, I think. What I am.
I think
so was Priyam sort of like your initiation into like getting out there or meeting more guys or anything?
I wouldn't say that.
No, I think another friend.
Did you need a push like after?
No, I didn't. Probably like I was just then trying to wonder that now how do you meet people, because again where I was working was such a women centric workplace and like my male friends are like all, I don't see friends as people who I will eventually date and shit like that. So
absolutely.
I was not
I don't get people who
exactly. So I was just not in the thing. I don't have anybody now too. I had like probably 1 or 2 people I've called to like sleep with. But dating apps I joined because I knew women who were on it, and I'd heard horrible stories from them, but I'd also heard कि चलो interesting है, let's try. And then I got on to it and I started seeing it for myself and I was completely overwhelmed. It was very, very weird for me to have so many people just, and of course वैसे भी there are fewer women, right? And there are more men on most dating apps. So just the overdose of like just men, and I'm just like, bro, I'm not used to talking to so many men in my life. I can't tolerate them. So I'm just like, and I saw myself copy pasting answers because literally I was just like, okay, this guy asked me the same thing, that guy, I can pitch one answer.
I can tell you it is the absolute opposite for most guys. Like you get a match and you'll
get like one match in like whatever.
I've texted on behalf of a lot of my friends because the moment they get a match, I'll get a screenshot. And this was like when dating apps again were very new and all of that. And obviously guys who maybe just don't have good texting game or whatever, for them it's all the more daunting because it's like एक match मिला है 1000 में से. Like it's once in 2 months I get a match and like if I say something out of place, then it's going to be like...
I know you're trying to make me sympathize with men, but I can't.
No, I know. We had this conversation earlier too. But
yeah.
I feel like even short-term dating, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily, like you guys said, it doesn't have to be transactional. I've had a lot of, let's say, boyfriend light experiences.
Yeah.
Where I've been like for 2-3 months very wholesome,
the
very
boyfriend
nice.
experience.
मैंने बहुत किया है वो between like serious relationships, and I feel like casual dating and short-term dating can actually be pretty wholesome in its own way. If you both just at that point make it very transparent and clear what you all both are coming into this expecting. If the expectations are clear,
absolutely,
and if it's fun and it's everything, like boundaries are respected, and then sure, usually though what happens is one party, someone wants
on the same page.
Someone eventually
like that,
and that's when transparency starts becoming an issue, because the moment someone will say मैं ये क्यों बोलूं, maybe I shouldn't, maybe he'll get scared off and this and that, and then suddenly you realize,
and they do get scared off, so
people aren't clear about their expectations, which I think for me at least has been
but I'm also saying that the whole phase that you constantly keep bringing up, I think it's also important because I have personally gotten better with communication over time, because earlier, because you know how new dating is, you know, just like hooking up is strange, or how casual is too casual, what is the line, this and that. Obviously, two parties involved are operating on different universes, right?
Most of the time, yes.
Uska kuch aur chal raha hai chapter, uska syllabus kuch alag hai. And you know, like 100%, like, and it's terrible, I'm not proud of it, but you're ghosting some people, or you know, being like overtly mean, ये सब कर रहे हैं गंदे toxic behavior जो हम बचपन में कर लिया ना, so now it's out of the system.
अच्छा.
So I feel now when I am interacting in a romantic setting with somebody, I am much more clear and articulate about what I want. Like for example, I have acute space issues. I've always had them कि मुझे थोड़ा शांत, अब मैं 24/7 में नहीं हो सकती तुम्हारे साथ. But I remember when I was earlier, it was just so hard for me to verbalize this, because to date casually was not a thing that everybody around me was doing. So it's not something you can even discuss with other people for like good advice, so to speak. 100% your pop culture, media, your internet slang, friends
have dictated most of our.
Everybody has told you this only, that the smartest way at the time is कि चलो अब cut them off, block them, ghost them, whatever, which is obviously fully damaging. But over time, I think when you have spent enough time in maybe different settings where somebody is, you know, like how every friend brings a different flavor into your life, right? Every friend is a different kind of a friend. So I think in the same way, you also realize that, oh, what are the things in a relationship that I want, and what are the things in a relationship that I seek out more. So by the time I think you are ready to date in a more wholesome, holistic or long-term way, perhaps. I think you have the vocabulary, or you have finally the specific pointers to communicate. कि मैं मतलब, you know, कि I can't spend all weekend with you, for example, if this is a thing for you, or you know, if you have or you really like traveling with your partner, or you know, if sex is huge for you, or sex is not big for you, whatever it is.
That compatibility.
And compatibility, because बहुत बार relationship में क्या हो रहा है कि तुम भी, it's a gamble only, na? Tumhe kya pata hai? If you and I are dating, we have no idea who we are, like, as people, right? We are just trying to figure out now what is our collective universe.
But so does this happen to you, where in the initial stage, right? I feel like I am very sweet. Okay. तो मेरे को अगर मैं थोड़ा discomforted भी हूँ कि ये शायद this person is overstaying their welcome or something, do you immediately become rude and mean and like? In the first,
have you learned that over the years?
I have learned that. Can I tell you what I used to do? Terrible. So basically, जैसे स्कूल में नहीं होता कि हर साल जब अप्रैल में सेशन शुरू होता है स्कूल का, फिर तुम्हें लगता है ठीक है, पिछले साल जो हुआ इस साल बेटा फर्स्ट टर्म में 80 नंबर आएंगे मेरे.
This happens in every relationship.
In every relationship. No, in school it used to happen, right? Like this year I will do homework every day. I will be student of the year. For me, when I would get into a new like relationship, I would be like, fine. Whatever happened, because you know, usme kami thi.
Yeah, of course.
New relation, new me.
New relation, new me. I'm going to be girlfriend of the year. So I would kind of, you know, overcompensate. I'm like, oh yeah, I have been told that yes, you have to be available all the time, and you know, like do all
chirpy,
happy, and happy.
She's cute. She's cool.
Too much
she's
high
quirky.
energy. And then after a few weeks or months, depending, you would get over it. So then I would start like pulling back.
And your real personality comes out.
And now the boy is so confused because he has not changed his persona or personality in any way.
Correct.
And then in the middle, then I would start like trying to get him to break up with me. But
fuck, this is actually very eerily similar to a lot of like
Yeah,
dating
yeah.
experiences I've had, but being on your side of
It's
it.
exhausting. Even listening to this is exhausting.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, right. So, and it's terrible. Like you try to get them to break up with you, but I am amazing girlfriend. So obviously they're not. And then you suggest like a break, but break up. It's so like complicated. And then I was like, oh my god, wait! I could just while we are getting to know each other. Tell them all the things I'm not. How about that?
Yeah.
And since I started doing that, it's just been much simpler, much more relaxed, because dating is a very high effort endeavor. You have to be available, you have to put in the time, and especially now the stages of lives that we are in, where work is important, friends are important. Absolutely. You have a social life, you want to do things with your life, and I mean, for the three of us sitting here, I can imagine we are killing it. Like we have very fulfilled lives right now.
Yeah.
So to integrate another person into
It's a
this,
lot of hard work.
where you are also not willing to change too much, it's complicated. तो इसीलिए starting में और कम complicated इसीलिए हो सकता है where the pressure of कि अच्छा वो मिल चुके हैं अब चलो now this is it अब parents will लेते हैं ये बोल लेते हैं just to keep the pressure off while you're also figuring yourself in this very long journey of life. It's nice to travel a little halka basically.
For sure, always.
So yeah, that's where I think I'm coming from.
I just think that even from whichever man I have, this is where my GP story will also come.
Nice.
But I've taken breaks, right? Like when it comes to I will find 3-4 people who I don't mind talking to, and then I'll continue it in a way where we both know that it's a casual thing, and then whatever. It goes on because I've not found anybody, and now if I'm looking for a relationship, it needs to be long term. If not marriage, it just needs to be something substantial for me, right? And like I said, now that I know what I don't like, that list is getting more difficult to put a person.
List is getting longer,
and it's getting difficult.
It's focused, no? You're at least not going to be wasting time.
I just know it. Like I just know from a few, and I know maybe that's not the greatest way to judge a person.
और वो red flags का radar भी strong हो जाता है.
बहुत ज़्यादा. So
and tolerance का level is on floor.
Absolutely, it's like going minus now.
No.
So it's just that then when this year started after the pandemic, all our dating lives, when we were single at that time, the pandemic has to ruin 2 years, na? Like I'm not meeting anyone new during this time. You are different.
मेरा pandemic में relationship खत्म हो गया basically. Like the pandemic killed whatever relationship
exactly.
was there.
And pandemic has killed a lot.
Because they said there were like surveys or studies about this, that the pandemic, especially in the romantic setting, fast forwarded your relationship for 3 years.
Yeah.
So if you were going to break up in 3 years, you did it.
Or you
got
married.
married,
Correct.
you did it.
Correct.
And I was like, that's great.
I was single and I couldn't meet anybody, so that left me even more कि मुझे इसकी ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. So that became a thing, but then again when 2022 came, I was like, चलो, I'll meet more people. Come on, Shreemi, put yourself more out there, whatever. You can't just keep hanging with Priyam. And then I met one person who, firstly on the first date only started talking about all his problems, which I think is like little to bring some freshness.
Don't be a whiny puss on the first date.
And don't wait to reveal personality.
Yes, and think about it, okay? You are meeting someone for the first time, you're already burdening them with all your life problems. Yeah. And I think men see it like, oh, I'm being vulnerable in front of her. But I don't give a rat's ass, man. I'm not going to be vulnerable in front of you. So why am I getting so much of this? And he was there, and then constantly, I met him once. I was like, okay, cool, fine, we'll meet someday. And he's like, no, if I'd be hanging with you, he would be like, oh, yeah, after meeting me for the first time, this guy has already started
making them men jealous just by existing.
Don't even get there, man. But anyway, so
that's a whole different.
But yeah, I'm just like, firstly, who the hell are you? Yeah. To even if I'm not defining him, of course he's my friend. I don't want to. Why am I giving?
You don't have to.
Why am I giving? Why is he asking me for an explanation when I'm hanging with a friend who I've known for fucking decades now to somebody I met once? So that really weirded me out. And then again on his insistence, we went out again. I was like, ठीक है, पास में रहता था. Okay, my thing is geographically, if you're within a bearable distance for me, I will probably meet you. If you're beyond that, I will not.
Basically, people within a 3-kilometer radius of Warsaw.
Yeah.
Y'all are the only ones who have a short
reading location.
Yeah. Yes. But yes, whatever.
Sorry for the rest.
So it just my
because long distance is damn hard, dude.
I think it's worth it, yeah. And I don't live by myself. So
nobody south of say Santa Cruz qualified.
Just shut up. And then I met him, okay, and somewhere close by only. And then we were chilling, drinking. And the bill came and we drank a lot. So I was just like, okay, and usually, I mean, we are all earning. I said, like, we'll go Dutch. And like, no, let me get this. And I know that he was struggling at that time because he was living with a friend also.
And of course, because he has told you all his problems.
Yes, and I know immediately. I probably
including financial ones.
I probably knew his bank balance also at this point of time. And I know, okay, nice, bro, you're poor right now. So like, let's just. And he's like, no, he insists. I'm like, okay, chill, bharo, mujhe kya hai, to like free alcohol. I get home and everything, and then the next day he's like, hey, it was quite expensive. Will you GPay me? And I'm like, couldn't you just tell me that day? This is so shady. The next day, you're asking me. I was like, yeah, okay. And I GPayed him, and then I stopped meeting him.
Of course.
Then maybe after paying the bill, he thought,
yeah,
but nothing.
Yeah.
And then he's like, chalo paise de de wapas mere please.
Whatever it was. And then he's just
either
like,
give me money or boo. One of the two I need out of my date.
पर डच जाने में क्या शर्म है?
क्या शर्म है वही करने के
अगर
लिए
if someone's really insisting, then ठीक है, it's maybe a matter of.
Please, Jackie, you're obviously not mad enough.
No, bro. I've had
No, I have another problem
the
with
whole
him.
thing, and then after that, suddenly मेरा number already है उनके पास, मेरे को GPay आ जाता है. And I get mad, but honestly, I've seen this. It like I've had arguments also. I was like, no, I wanted to, but some women they just it's like no, it's either Dutch or nothing. So and I respect that. I've come to respect that.
I mean, yeah. Also, then when I was there, I was like, I don't want to meet this person ever again. So yeah. And then he knew where I work because whatever. He sent me a fucking cheesecake
With the money you GPayed.
Yes, probably. Definitely.
इसका बाकी का 9,000 किधर है कंट्रोल?
And what pissed me off once again is that you haven't even fucking asked what I like. I don't like that.
Shreemi does not have a sweet tooth.
I don't have. If you paid attention to whatever I have said in the span of 2 days, which you clearly want because you were so busy burdening me with your nonsense, you send me a cheesecake which I don't enjoy. Don't do that. Again, you make it about yourself, right? It's like I made this gesture. You haven't asked what the girl wants. You are just like doing your own shit, and then he's wondering why I'm ghosting him. I'm like, do you not have any perspective? No self-awareness.
Okay, I want to talk about some fun dating.
Yeah.
Please, go for it.
No, but I am saying how absolutely there are like your experiences like that, and then if you're not already under the pressure of यही है अब मेरे जीवन का साथी, so you can be like, hey, there will not be a date, date number 2 or whatever, you can cut it off, which I don't think is the case if the pressure is already on. How for example, I have been on dates where we've gone to like beautiful restaurants and laughed and all, ended up at Carter Road, sometimes they've gone back to our place, like it's also been like really good, and how different personalities are different, where yes, some get really whiny. This friend of mine, he was telling me that he was listening to some podcast where they were talking about how men after a certain age, our age, your age, they really start seeking love.
Yeah, I know. I'm dealing with that. I don't want it. Not like this.
And I'm just like, oh, it's so interesting because by the time women reach that age,
they're over it, dude.
You're kind of over it because
ये मैंने कर लिया कॉलेज में, ठीक है? अभी मुझे सेक्स चाहिए.
और like थोड़ा chill चाहिए.
So I think that was also an interesting insight in this casual dating thing where more and more like now men are wanting to get a little more serious and women are finding more agency and more like actualization in being, themselves and not wanting to give in immediately because men are looking for somebody ki haan chalo, I can't sit with somebody and now listen to क्या परेशानी है तुम्हारी जिंदगी.
And that is the quickest way to get and I'll tell you something, that is the quickest way to make a guy fall in love with you. I've realized this from I have my last 2 or 3 serious relationships have actually been with the girl just absolutely sidelining my feelings or whatever in the very very initial stage कि ये कुछ नहीं होने वाला, and then suddenly it's like wow wait no, but I can change her.
But coming back to this casual setup, I also think it should be normalized because a little more, especially in our country. Because now I think what is happening is that because, going back to that one idea that you're sold of what your life should be, especially in the romantic sphere, I think as you grow older, reality hits you and you're just like, oh shit.
You stop romanticizing.
You stop romanticizing love. You stop romanticizing marriage. You start understanding that it is, a super big commitment with another person for the rest of your life, etc. Like it's super heavy. It's not just ki chal one wedding.
You start understanding the gravity of it.
And it's so much more than just like the physical attraction part.
That
becomes literally the least. It's
like,
am I does this person like the same AC temperature as I do? And
absolutely. Like it's a habitable roommate situation. But I think अगर थोड़े casual relations हम थोड़ा सा normalize करें. where everybody understands that, oh, okay, if at all one of the things you want to do in life is get married, और जब तक वो नहीं हो रहा ठीक है कि मेरी जिंदगी झंड नहीं होगी है.
Exactly.
Because I think what people right now, especially our age, who are struggling with, कि अब मेरे दोस्तों की शादी हो गई है, मैं रह गया हूँ, मैं रह गई हूँ अकेली. Oh, everybody is a couple, only me not. But I'm just like, but because I know so many people, especially women, who are killing it, they look good.
And they're not seeing that. They're just seeing the lack of a husband as a...
as a big void in their life. And the only reason I think that void is this big is because they are not being able to enjoy the small pockets of attention, validation, etc. I think if you have been around the circle a little bit,
been around the bend,
hoed around, तो थोड़ा सा ना मुझे लगता है it definitely, or it has helped me in kind of being a lot more self-assured. Right?
Yes.
Because you're not looking for external validation right now, because you know that, like I'm a
interesting
human being with enough things to offer, enough things to bring on the table. And once something mutually stops working out because of maybe, your priorities are different, somebody has moved to another city, jo bhi that, it was super fun, and then after a point it stops being fun, and that happens sometimes. So you're able to step away from it without, of course, breakups are hard for anyone. That's not, but it has not taken away your entire existence, and now you're not this Devdas who doesn't know.
Because you're not hinging your every happiness, self-worth, everything on this one person. Imagine the pressure on that person then. When, like she said, right, you need different type of friends in your life because everybody comes with something, right? Even your partner is obviously your friend you're having sex with, but they can't be the whole and soul of your happiness, your sadness, your bad days, your good days. Like, you have a strong set of friends
you have to have
who are there, who are listening to you. I know for a fact that there will be, if I have some problem in life, if Priyam is not the right person, I have another person to talk to. Like, just when it comes to perspective, right? Like, it's, how can you expect your partner to be all of this? Nobody is a superhuman. We are all like a little fucked in our heads. So it's just the pressure that comes with it becomes a little insane. Also, casual dating helps a lot, especially for women, in knowing what they like sexually.
I was just going to say, oh my god!
Now at 32, I am far more sexually confident. I am far, because again, I've been with one person for a very long time. And after that, I was whatever, I'm having the time of my life. But even then, I had such a different, this thing about sex when I was recent as 27, In this span from 27 to 32, I have realized finally what exactly I like in bed. And that is something which is so sad that a lot of women don't have. Because they are married by then, you're sticking to one partner. Or again, because of the fear of getting slut-shamed or something, they are not putting themselves out there. And they need to, people should know that if a man is enjoying sex, again, if it's consensual, you are supposed to enjoy it. Like, it's not a layer of, will he be interested in me the next morning? Are you interested? Think about that. Think whether you want to, this whole thing we put in our heads.
You tell him, girl.
You tell him, girl.
That, I haven't brushed my, will he like me? Does he like me? Do you like him? Do you want to sleep with another person? Do you just want to... So, that is something, that is a realization I've had pretty recently in life, and it's so wonderful to have that. Because again, now I know meko sex mein kya pasand hai. I know what kind of guy I like. Like, it's just making my life so much clearer. And without the extra fat, of like, nahi ye tolerate kar lenge because I'm supposed to be someone's girlfriend. Or nahi ye chal jayega. But I'm not saying कि no,
ऐसा ही होता है.
ऐसा ही, मुझे क्यों ऐसा होगा? I'm then far happier alone, na, than being with like some burdened person who's telling me about like some sad life story.
I think it should also be said that there are enough happily single people as there are unhappy together people.
Yes.
And enough happy people in a relationship and really sad single people.
Jitna hasna utna rona.
There's people all across the spectrum, and that's why I think there's so many kind of, like, two things I want to talk about. One is just repressed long-term relationship people who just feel like they didn't sow their wild oats enough. That's one, and they very much exist.
Those guys are the one who become those WhatsApp forward uncles.
Those WhatsApp forward uncles, pretty much. कि शादी करके बर्बादी, and generally their wife is much more miserable than they are. She's just not vocalizing it. And second is, can we talk about just how many kind of dating terms there are now? Like, there's breadcrumbing. Do you know what breadcrumbing is?
Babe,
have you done breadcrumbing? Okay,
yes, I have.
So breadcrumbing is obviously like when You
leave
just
the crumbs.
you give someone just
Little.
enough interest कि ठीक है तुम
इतना
रहो.
सा, हाँ.
Zombie सुना है तुम लोगों ने?
नहीं, zombie नहीं सुना.
So it's ahead
Ghosting
of,
but better.
it's basically when someone has ghosted you,
हाँ.
but फिर they are back from the dead.
Return from dead.
Suddenly एक हुआ है?
हाँ.
Have you
But no
zombied
one
someone?
ghosted me.
No one's ghosted you.
Because I'm the
You
most
are
of the
ghost.
time I'm.
Have you zombied anyone? You have.
Yeah, I have.
I know you have.
I sometimes desperate
I know. I've zombied quite a lot. I understood I am a professional zombie.
are.
When I'm single, it's like.
Yeah. And
Have you zombied people?
I'm thinking.
And I'm
sure.
feel like I must
She's-
have.
please,
she's zombied a
Priyam
lot.
suddenly has become one.
और एक है.
One Western virgin she has become.
और एक must term है, ठीक है?
वो
It's
बता.
called whelming.
Whelming.
damn.
WHELMING.
I like it better than overwhelming.
Yeah,
so I
sure.
like it.
I'm better than
Whelming.
underwhelming.
Underwhelming.
Hey, isn't this from 10 Things I Hate About You?
Clueless.
No, 10 Things also. I'm whelmed. Is it
अच्छा, उसमें
overwhelming?
बहन,
Is it
हाँ,
bad?
हाँ,
Yeah,
नहीं,
anyway.
but whelming as a dating term means when you go out on a date with someone and वो लोग बहुत अपनी मतलब sexual conquest की तारीफ करते रहते हैं
हाँ,
yuck, I hate
they keep basically not even maybe their sexual conquest, more how attractive a partner they are. They'll keep dropping in like weird things like, oh, this person is like so
Oh,
mad.
he's obsessed with me. Oh my god, he loves me.
Have you guys come across any Whelmers?
Not in recent
I-
memory.
I have met a few guys who, try to project themselves as very attractive to their exes even now, and that just pisses me off, man.
Yeah, I
And then if you have to say it, then it doesn't. It's not true.
quickest red flag is someone who badmouths their ex.
That also, yes, for sure.
Whelming हुआ है तुम्हारे साथ?
Whelming ऐसे type का तो नहीं. I also feel that
Have you whelmed anyone to impress
No,
them?
never.
Never?
Yuck. I'm
I feel
classy.
like I've maybe like subtly
no.
whelmed someone.
No,
now.
I think none of my whelming, by which I'm understanding it to be some humble brags, involve any other person. 100% I'm sure I brag about how great I am. I'm sure it's also obvious. But it's never to
It's
do
not, by the way.
it's never to
In
do
case you're
with
wondering, it's not.
my
It's not.
relationship. But no, but I feel like when you're going on, first dates and all, the first few dates, and if none of the parties are rondu or alcoholics,
Why did you point at me when she
No,
said
because you went on an alcoholic date.
Oh, yeah,
I went on a
yeah,
room
हाँ,
date.
याद है,
Understand,
याद
yeah?
है।
मैं
please.
सुन रही हूँ Jackie यार.
वो rehab में ही है शायद.
So it's also, I feel like, and I've spoken to you about this, that you're also, or at least I'm also in some character. I think my biggest
No,
attraction.
I'm not. Actually, we'll get to that.
I
but
think
yeah.
my biggest attraction of this casual relationship cycle
Yeah.
is exactly this, where I can go out, be a little person that I may not necessarily be outside of my
Yeah.
love life.
She's Duggal Saab, but in character.
Yeah,
She doesn't have handicap. She
absolutely.
just, आज मैं चोपी करूँ. आज मैं artist.
You're
आज
just
मैं-
you're just
Yeah.
playing you're playing the part.
I'm an actress, guys. So of course, she's doing method acting.
ये dates पे नहीं जाती है audition पे. She starts a date में. He's like, hi, I'm Ravi. I live in Lokanala. Hi, I'm Priyam. Height 5'3". Your profiles.
Which, the thing
I've not worked for any competing brands, or maybe I have, but तेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Like, it's nice.
Which I actually started realizing later that, oh my god, my big thrill out of this is from my
Playing the part.
narcissistic place
Yeah.
of, that, like, it'd be so fun to date.
Today
this
I'm
type
mystery
of-
Priyam.
Yeah, absolutely.
आज हम mystery girl है.
To
कल
keep
हम cool girl.
keep the spark alive.
I
How
like
are you?
it.
You
Which
tell
do
me.
you,
How am
which
I?
do you, so seriously I'm asking. So, so the first
But
thing-
I've heard about this.
But I like this much better than going on dates where this weird interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would much rather be a little like, hey, are you ready for performance?
Okay, another dating term.
That might end up in sex, which is great.
About performance,
Live show at sex.
I have a story again.
Performance, please.
Performance. There was this one guy I had met
Oh,
who on his
shit.
dating app had said he's in the marketing thing. When I met him, he revealed that he's an actor. He's trying to make it as an actor. And I was like, fuck. Because usually actors never. But it's okay. I don't think they're also very interested in me. So
I'm
it's
not
fine.
saying any
But-
of this because I feel like lots of people I've dated watch shit I do.
Okay. And I met him, okay.
And I'm
then-
waiting to zombie on them, so I can't say anything. Sorry.
I'm sure actors have only zombies in their love life, mostly.
But listen, okay, then we were talking 5 minutes of small talk. Then he's like, I want to be an actor. I was like, oh, great, okay, good for you, etc. Like, do you watch Game of Thrones? And that Game of Thrones was, and I was a super fan. And I was like, yeah, like, who do you like the most? And I was like, Jamie Lannister, He's like, okay. And then he did a scene acting like Jamie Lannister. Yeah.
हाथ वाथ पे लग
नहीं वो काटना मेरा काटा नहीं हाथ अपना, but he gave this whole monologue Jamie had done. I said, okay, cool. Great, he did a good job. Like, okay, have you seen the Godfather movies? I was like, yeah, I really like the Godfather movies. He's like, okay. Then he started doing a Marlon Brando. Then he did an Al Pacino. Then he did a Robert De Niro.
This guy, I remember.
Yeah, dude, 2 hours. He just kept asking, do you like him?
Yeah.
2 hours, nahi 1 hour. He kept asking, and after a point I started enjoying also. I was like, I'll do this,
It's
I'll do
like
that.
Ranveer Singh Hollywood version, but not famous. Like,
And
not
fun.
talented.
And nothing.
they weren't good.
They were like, whatever. Also, why the hell?
Yeah, Jackie's asking. अच्छा था कि नहीं? Mimicry किया था उसने.
I'm just like, why?
Shreemi, when you said I have a performance story, I expected something very different.
I know.
Yeah.
वो है ही ऐसा.
I know.
Mind
Some-
and gutter.
नहीं वो उस हिसाब से दुकान ठीक से चलती है
हाँ,
but this was just he kept like acting dude and I'm just like he have to go home like yeah okay but and then he was constantly acting so yeah casual dating can be weird sometimes but also it can give you I remember sure that's a much better thing you said I remember for a time I think I was going on dates just to tell my friends about it.
Shreemi, I swear to God, you're reading my mind constantly. I think of something and then you say.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't do performance like she does.
But yeah, storytelling is a big
Because I have
part.
PTSD.
Content bucket conversation starter मिल जाता है.
See, I have PTSD from this guy, so I can't act anywhere. I'm like, नहीं ये नहीं होने वाला है. They obviously see I'm not the ha girl they think they are getting into, so it's another. I don't think.
ये तो बहुत blade blood bliss
I don't think dates with me are very enjoyable. Now that I think of it, it's very like okay, what are we doing? But I know for a fact that once a guy starts talking and I think most of them just want to talk. They just want someone who can listen. And I'm very good at zoning out.
Men started podcasts so they could talk to each other.
Yeah. So I'm very like, oh yeah, and then catch the last word. I'm like, oh, tell me more. Sure. And I'm not registering anything. But the
Shreemi
moment
is a great friend, but I want to just point this out. I don't think Shreemi is coming across great as a date.
Yeah.
But she's
when I'm
good.
someone's friend, I'm very
She's
nice.
in a good.
Yeah. But I will latch on to one thing they've said, something interesting. And I'm like, I can't wait to tell my friends about this. This is literally why, for a while, like, I think for like 3-4 months, I was going on dates just to tell friends. And like, just, in my head, enjoy. That was my point.
नहीं, but storytelling तो है थोड़ा सा. That
For sure.
Even when I am
We talk to each other every day.
Yeah, literally for that.
We need new fresh content. ऐसे थोड़ी we run out of things to talk
See,
about.
when we asked Priyam in the start क्या चल रहा है, she would have had she gone on a very interesting date the previous night.
Yeah.
Would start with that.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
But
And also, like we spoke about sex a little earlier, but I think even okay, the whole sex with somebody you love versus sex with somebody you don't know. I personally think nobody is good or bad at sex. Some people have better sexual chemistry, and of course, if you're having sex with somebody over time, you get
becomes
better. It
Yes,
becomes better,
sure,
right?
for
So great. And again, busting the myth that casual sex is not a one night stand. Like these are all
you
different.
can have friends with benefits.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
these
good
are all very
concept.
different things that people overlap. But anyway, तो मुझे लगता है कि जो sexual stories ही बहुत होती है, मुझे तो बहुत मजा आता है बताने में. The stuff that led up to it.
Yeah.
I think when you have
The
been,
tension building, the foreplay, all
yeah,
of that.
the foreplay, or like the chemistry, or what in your head at what point, because I think men and women also view sex differently, right? Like getting laid or scoring is a very different concept, and they tell their friends different parts of it. I know that women talk about the
leading up to
precursor
it.
of,
Yes.
There's that scene in Friends, right? When Ross and Rachel
Yeah.
and
Then Ross.
and the
They're
chicks
two
are just like, oh my
different,
god, like what happened?
And then Joey, did you have sex?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Has bite of pizza.
It was that tongue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
So storytelling also great if you're in a casual dating scenario or open to it.
Yeah.
And adds to rang tumhare.
Flavorful conversation.
Flavorful
Friends,
conversation,
always. And friends are my most important relationships anyway.
Yes.
Friends
my
and How I
family.
Met Your Mother, I think, to some extent.
No, my relationships with friends.
Those,
Yeah, you two,
Not-
your friends
not
of mine
actual
on the
real
show.
people.
Some of us
ये
have
friends का
that.
reference दे रही थी मुझे लगा तो वही बोल रही है.
No,
But another dating term. Okay, I don't know if you guys have heard this. It's called love bombing.
Yes, I know of this.
So
Is it overwhelming something
Yeah.
with love?
Yeah.
it's like बहुत जल्दी मतलब बहुत लवी डवी हो जाता है कोई. They are very like, oh my god, this is.
Yeah.
They that whole intimacy issues you spoke about in the start, it would be your nightmare because this guy, imagine from the second date or the third date, is very like,
Sorry,
baby,
I
and
worded I call them space issues. He has called mine intimacy issues. I
Yes.
don't have intimacy issues.
space issues.
You have issues.
I have issues.
Multiple of them.
Not in my bad.
sorry.
I misremember.
Yeah.
Your space issues.
No, you suck, Chachi.
This would not be a
How
nightmare
dare
for
you.
Obviously, it would, right?
Someone love
Where
bombs.
some dude from the second date onwards is very lovey-dovey. That is love bombing basically, where
बिल्कुल
someone jumps the gun with either the L word.
मेरे साथ बहुत होता था actually. हाँ I'm very easy to fall in love with.
That's true,
what
yeah.
to do?
Come on, yeah. How can you help? Look at the chair.
Yeah, hang with me long enough. Because the thing is, because I'm also, I become the person you will kind of potentially fall in love with.
She does that.
And then I'm like, oh, but my audition is over now. क्या?
अभी तो मुझे जाना है,
अब तो घर जाना है.
सब भूल जाओ.
But I think, with love bombing, like my last serious relationship, I have also been in serious relationships. I also just want to say for record.
Same, all of us have.
All of us have been.
We're not only like, hello.
हाँ. Sluts वाला नहीं चल रहा है.
Sluts वाला नहीं चल रहा है. We've all been in healthy.
What's the harm anyway?
But I think the thing with love bombing is that, like anything else, as long as both parties are involved. Because I think my last serious relationship, we fell in love very quickly. And then I think in the beginning I was kind of questioning like, he क्यों हो रहा है इतनी जल्दी और ये अरे excuse me this that. But then the love bombing didn't seem unnatural. We said I love you very quickly.
Organic.
But that's a very rare case.
Yeah, super.
Like, because for two people to reach the same level of intimacy, love and
unheard of.
Yeah, it's quite unheard of because I've dealt with men getting overtly attached or overtly emotional or whatever.
Overtly entitled a lot in your case.
I don't know why. I don't know what
Hate
kind
it.
of what they ring out in people. But I've dealt with
it's
this.
not you, it's them.
It's them, fuck that. Absolutely. But it's just that I, at least now in this stage of my life, and again we have dealt with all kind of loves and relationships and like the very raw, passionate ones to the more chill and caring ones. I know for a fact that now I just want someone who is a little relaxed in life. Not somebody who is there like I don't need gestures anymore. I don't need the whole gifting like I earn well, I can buy my cell phone stuff. I just want someone who's a little chill, which I think a lot of people are forgetting in a way that either they are just disrespectful, which they think is cool and chill, or they are like weird. So I think that balance is getting more difficult for both genders, I think, to get to. Okay, you can just first 2-3 dates, you can just like hang,
But I also want to believe, I don't have too much like research back. I want to believe that the younger generation
are much better at it.
Are much better.
I feel like Gen Z is just overall much better at respecting boundaries, vocalizing their feelings, which is a very good thing. We spoke about the over vocalizing of things before in the previous one, but honestly, I feel like Gen Z, it gives me more hope for the next, like the kind of next generation of daters, so to speak, like young daters. I don't think they'll be as clueless as we were. They won't hopefully get into situations that put them in like either unsafe situations or even situations that are uncomfortable, because nobody wants that. Nobody should go through that.
And they will not have to deal with this layer of outside stigma or shame.
Sex positivity.
Sex positivity. Where the only
sex.
person in a relationship is you. Like you don't have to think कि वो चार लोग
चाचा मामी दादा क्या कहेंगे, for sure. Also, I think because with every passing generation, touchwood, obviously women's rights are being taken away, but there is more agency, right? Like she said in the start also, that it's getting more difficult or whatever complicated because now women know what they want. It's not just a one-sided कि the man will decide क्या होने वाला है. I think the younger generation, women have far more agency. Even if they're not allowed, they make it happen. They make that space happen for them, which I think is fantastic. And that will, like you said, hopefully bring them out of unsafe situations, because we've not really addressed it. But dating, in like a lot, there are lots of instances where I've heard horror stories with the way men have behaved with women. It is insane. So like that type of bullshit hopefully will not be tolerated, and it should never be tolerated. Like a lot of women do. It's very easy to like say it and like not do anything about it, but like it should just, there needs to be a hard stop on a lot of things, and I really hope women just get to that eventually.
Yeah, I think slowly but surely.
They will.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Would you date somebody younger? How young is too young?
Interesting. Wow.
Because
no, for sure. I have dated younger
How
boys.
young?
Younger boys. I think the youngest.
Catch them young, watch them grow.
I think the youngest person I've been with was like 3 years younger than me.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I think I've been with someone that was 5-6 years younger than me.
Gross.
And how?
Hey, let me enjoy. Yeah.
I also have a female friend who's been with someone 7-8 years younger to her. So
why are you making faces? How old were you? How old were you when this 5-6
I was
years?
about 27.
So she's 22. How old were you at this time?
19. 20. I was dating someone who was 70.
Oh my
That's
god,
minor.
that's. Oh wow. Okay then.
Rest my case. I didn't have one.
Pretty scandalous. What about you?
I have a fun story.
Oh, okay.
It's a fun maker.
Okay.
Oh, would I date somebody younger? I am dying to.
Yeah, I know this.
I am dying to.
Yeah.
I was on this video recently. I did some this video where some relationship trouble answer something I had to do, and one of the things was that I'm dating somebody. It was from this chick. I'm dating somebody who's 7 years younger. We're just having fun, but I don't know if there's a future. Should I continue or should I end it? So when I see if you're 40 or 32, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but when
if you're 20, somebody's 12, it matters. Little bit.
True.
So I was like, I'm 30 right now. Would I date somebody who's 22? I'm like, it can't be worse than dating somebody who's 32. So yeah, like,
don't challenge men, Priyam. It can be. Sometimes it
like
can be.
perspective.
But, yeah.
No, but this one time, this is I was, I guess, single. Must be because this is happening. I was. So I was at this wedding, and there was dancing, and it was one of those big fat wedding situations. And this guy's come, and we were kind of like
Vibing.
and he was obviously young looking.
Right.
Like just like
Child.
you could, like
Small
you could
boy.
tell that he is
Baby
not.
face, 90s chef. Yes.
कि ये बिल्कुल भी मतलब but he was so forthcoming with, and I was just like आपकी मम्मी को पता है
और बताओ उम्र क्या है तुम्हारी?
क्या तो ठीक है so and I was also like fairly drunk and I remember like he was wearing this blazer which seemed like it was like he wasn't even that
Priyam, that's too much.
yeah like he wasn't
That's
even that
too if he's not wearing a normal fitted suit, then he's too young for you.
So anyway, the night happened, and then like we made out like lots and super publicly at this like friends.
Yeah, young लोग ऐसे ही तो करते हैं.
है ना फिर ऐसे stage पे करते हैं against this again. Anyway, it just got out
You
of
were
hand.
the experienced older woman.
Yeah, okay, which I love. And then the next day, and no, at some point,
If you're having a shadi ki Priyam Aveshi grooms young boys at these weddings. No, sorry, go ahead.
now I'm better at shadis.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
before like earlier, like shadi, my big thing was
scoring
to
the-
go.
And when we were going for a wedding together, and when I told her that you don't have to, she's like, what do you mean? How is this a concept?
ये फूफा जी looks like he has a hot nephew. कहीं बुला
like,
उसको.
फिर क्यों जाना है इतना अरे लहंगा और क्यों पहना है तुमने but anyway
For the wedding.
so I think 2008 so I think at some point I asked him because I kept asking how old you were and he said he's 24 I think I was 26 27 at the time and but there's no way you're not 24 but anyway in my head मैंने कहा कि हाँ चल 23 22 का होगा और क्या और मुझे अगले पता चला कि वो 18 साल का था and that's young.
Oh my god.
Young.
Okay, I think that's a good point to take closing thoughts. Just in terms of the dating scenario, I think we covered how Gen Z is just doing much better and
More
keep it
power
that
to
way.
you.
More power to you guys. But any closing thoughts on just casual dating? Do you recommend it to everyone or do you have reservations?
Yeah, for sure. Please date casually, enjoy yourself. Don't be under any kind of weird pressure to like find the one all the time, because I think truly like your most friendships and your most important relationships happen organically. Yeah. So allow that to happen. You don't have to come with this whole baggage of नहीं ये लड़का बनेगा मेरा पति, कोई जरूरत नहीं है, chill करो, हो जाएगा तो हो जाएगा.
Absolutely.
Relax.
The only actual long-term relationship you have to work on constantly is the one with yourself. तो बिल्कुल थोड़ा casually, not casually, whatever works for you, whatever makes sense you do, but 100% be open to experiencing what is out there, and so that you can find out better answers for what makes sense for you perfectly.
Yeah, very well said. I agree with both these points, and just to add to that, I think it's very important, especially as men, respect, and just like don't go in this toxic pressure of like, oh, I need to date, or I need to have a girlfriend, or I need to make out by a certain age or something. Just take your time, and most importantly, just try to be friends with the person and learn more about them. That's what builds attraction.
Get to know them as human beings.
Yeah, I know this whole thing is about casual dating and I'm making it sappy, but honestly, just even if it's casual, there's nothing more hot or sexy than connection and consent.
Man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Seek
Consent.
connection.
That's
and
important.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Thanks.
Thanks.